Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Alive and Well Communities November Learning Community Session. I am Jermine Alberty, the Interim Deputy Director with Alive and Well Communities, and I'm so glad to be here with you to talk about Blue Holiday. So we're going to talk about mental well-being because this is the season where a lot of folks begin to experience depression, anxiety, and that's for many different reasons. And so we just thought it would be great to come and have a conversation about this and how we can cope with depression and anxiety during the holidays. I'm glad to be joined here with my colleague, Danielle Small. Danielle, say hello to the people.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Danielle is our point of contact in Kansas City. She is managing our Alive and Well effort there in the Kansas City area, and we're grateful to have her there. So welcome to this November Learning Community Session. These sessions are made possible by three of our funders. We always want to thank the Community Mental Health Fund, the Reach Healthcare Foundation, and Health For Foundation. These funders are the ones that make this work possible here in Kansas City. So we're always grateful for our funders. I have been with Alive and Well now going on almost 8 years. I was one of the founding board members of Alive and Well, and in 2021 came on board to help lead the effort in Kansas City. And it has been such a great work that we have been doing, and we're so excited to keep that work going in Kansas City. And thank you all for joining us for these learning communities. We've got, I think, 8 in this year. This is our 9th one, and we'll have one more in December. So thank y'all for joining us. Now, our goal today is twofold. One, we want to discuss why individuals may struggle with their mental health during the holiday season. And now I want to discuss some steps to help yourself and others to manage your emotions, cope with stress, and find ways to improve your mental well-being during this time of year. So I want to jump into our first piece here, which is just this calming element here, because I think so many times that what we don't do during this time of the year is just slow down. It's the end of the year, it's November, December is almost here, and everybody's like, okay, I didn't get this done, I didn't get that done. And here's the problem, y'all. We can't get done in 8 weeks, but we didn't get done in 10 months. But we try to cram it all in at the end of the year, like we're gonna get it all done. And I think we just need to stop and just breathe. And so what's really cool is Danielle not only manages the program in Kansas City, but Danielle's doing some great work with yoga, with children, with adults, and doing some great work there. So I'm going to ask her to help just lead us through this calm sage, this calming piece. I'm going to push the little button here. And Danielle, this is just breathing. So I'm not good at this, but you are.
Okay.
I'll let you. So you talk to us.
Yep. So I invite everyone to just get grounded in your chair. If you're in your chair, if you're sitting on the floor, if you're sitting in your couch, bed, whatever it is, just allow yourself, your body to be soft. And I welcome you to just close your eyes and go ahead. And just slowly inhale in and hold. Oh, it's going pretty fast. Breathe out. So exhale, hold. Breathe in for 4. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 4. And exhale for 4. Inhale. We'll do one more round for 4. And exhale out. Good job. And wow. Go ahead, open your eyes and just slowly allow yourself to just have those emotions, feelings you're feeling. And Jermaine, I'll pass it back to you.
Yeah, how did that feel, everybody? Talk to me. How did that feel just to take a break, just to breathe a little bit? Talk to me. How did that feel just to breathe just a little bit? Anybody want to share? How did that feel? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. All right, chat feed. That's great. I'll look there. Okay. Looks like relaxing. Okay. Anybody else? What did it feel like just to take a moment just to breathe? Because this is the really important part. During this season, I need you all, whether it be through an app or whether it just be through what we just did here, take some time to stop and just breathe. I think we move so fast that we just breathe automatically and don't even realize that we're breathing. And take the time just to take in a deep breath and just breathe. And so that's just one thing that I want to encourage us to do during this season is really just to breathe. Jessica put in the chat feed, sometimes challenging to get going, but it feels good, right? It's to get that going, sometimes just to stop and just to breathe, it can be challenging, but it's really, really important that we do that because what we know here is that research tells us when we are seeking out to understand the holiday blues, that 38% of people felt their stress levels increased during the holiday season. This is a survey by the American Psychological Association. 38% of people in that survey found that during this holiday season that their stress levels increased. And there's a lot of reason for that. A lot of people are trying to plan for this season, whether it be advanced, whether it is the stress of trying to make sure that loved ones have gifts or have presents, whether it is the stress of this is the end of the year, trying to get everything crammed in by the end of the year. You know, this right here is a time where stress levels are just going up, going up, going up. And so I think it's so important that we acknowledge when we are stressed. And I'm going to give you some tools to help with that. So what we know also is that the National Alliance of Mental Illness talks about that the stress for persons with mental health challenges also increased during this period also. And I think the reason why this is increasing for those of us who may not have a diagnosis or those of us who may just be challenged with our mental health is because we're burning the candle at both ends. Anybody feel that way, that you're burning the candle at both ends? And this idiom here of burning the candle at both ends is a way of saying that we become so exhausted from staying up very late, getting up very early, because we're busy doing many things and working a lot. We're burning the candle at both ends. And eventually, if you burn the candle at both ends, you have no candle left and you burn out. And so if we were to do just a list of things that we have going on that appear to be as if we are just like busy on this end, and try to meet ourselves somewhere in the middle. I live that kind of life, and probably many of you live that kind of life right now too. I got in this morning to my hotel room about 1 o'clock in St. Louis, and I woke up at 6:30, and I was like, "Oh, it's 6:30. My day must begin." And I know I'm not the only one who is burning the candle at both ends. And so it's really important that if we have a mental health challenge, and a mental health challenge, I love to use this term as an umbrella term that include the early signs and symptoms of a mental health challenge, that includes the worsening signs of a mental health challenge, could even include crisis signs and symptoms of a mental health challenge, and it could include also a diagnosis. So the term mental health challenge simply is saying that our mental well-being has been challenged by something, and it doesn't matter if it ends in a diagnosis or not, we're being challenged. And so the National Alliance of Mental Illness found that 64% of people living with mental illness reported that their conditions worsen around the holidays. And so it's really important that through awareness that we take steps necessary in order to equip ourselves. Many of us have had many traumatic things happen to us around this time of the year. We are at a table that is empty because somebody has transitioned. We're at a table where somebody may not be there because we have divorced, maybe. We are at a table where maybe somebody is not there because we are estranged from them. Death, estrangement, divorce. All those things can be things traumatizing that make this time of the year where you want to just say, will you please just go away? Because people expect us to just be happy, 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 because happy holidays. And people are going, no, this is not a happy holiday, man. And so it's really important that we look at some facts around holiday blues. These facts came from NAMI.org, and I'm proud to be a NAMI member, proud also to be a NAMI board member in Nevada. But holiday blues is different from mental illness. Oftentimes, these are short-term mental health challenges, but the fact of the matter is they still must be taken seriously, because what can happen is if we don't address these things during this season, and I don't know about you, but I am upset I lost my hour. I want them to change this. I want them to fix this. I want my hour back. Anybody agree with me? I want my hour back. It's getting dark too soon. Like, I need my sun. And this is a time where people are experiencing holiday. Thank you, Amber. You agree with me. People are experiencing during this time, some depression because they are losing sun and they don't have as much time to get out and walk around and enjoy because it's getting darker earlier. Also, some people may experience what is called seasonal affective disorder. And because of a lack of sunshine, it could cause people to become more depressed. And so persons may be dealing with seasonal affective disorder. They may be dealing with just the fact that they don't have enough sunlight to take in. And if we don't address this early, then it can lead to clinical anxiety or depression. So it's really important that when you start feeling yourself feeling down or depleted or fatigued or stressed, and that goes over a certain period of time, that you take note of that. You should be looking for three things. What is the duration of how I'm feeling? What is the impact of this? And how frequent is this happening? Three things. How duration, impact, frequency. So if this is going on for days and then weeks at a time, you may be moving from just a situational, circumstantial depression, anxiety, to something more clinical. And so it's really important that if you feel that way, that you talk about that. What we know is people already living with mental illness are often affected by the holiday blues, and individuals, family, and friends should know symptoms to watch out for each other. So it's important to be aware of what's going on. And sometimes there are some ways to avoid and minimize holiday blues. I'm going to get there in a moment. People tend to drink a lot during the holidays. There's a lot of parties that happen. And I know that when we were living through COVID as this epidemic, that those kind of got shut down, but now people are meeting more. And so people may be tempted to drink more, tempted to do different things. So I would say that if you do choose to have some pleasurable drinks, we'll call them that, just make sure you're not drinking when you're stressed or down. Because if you are drinking when you're stressed and down, then it could be that you're using those pleasurable drinks in order to help cope with those things. And you may want to find a mechanism that can help you cope with it that may not lead to something more critical. I would encourage you all, if you're not affiliated with a local NAMI group, that you go to NAMI.org and that you can find lots of resources. You can find support groups there at NAMI. You can find different resources for signs and symptoms at NAMI. So I would encourage you all to check out NAMI.org just to kind of find out, hey, what could be some signs and symptoms that I should be aware of during this time? So let me go ahead and progress a little bit further here, because there is a question I want to ask you, and that is, does suicide increase during the holiday? And a lot of folks would answer that question. They would say, well, that is a fact, or that may be a myth. What we know is research tells us this. This is also another stat from NAMI. And research tells us that actually it is a myth, that suicide does not increase during the holiday. But suicide risks are always something we should take serious. Oftentimes during the holidays, that's when we're around family, we're around friends. And it's after the holidays sometimes that when things begin to go back to that situation where you are isolated, where you are alone, that the risk of suicide may increase. And so what I want to do is point this out to all of you all, is that if you recognize that somebody is saying like, oh, I just like I'm a burden to others, or I have no reason to live, or this pain is just so unbearable, that they begin to lose interest in things that they used to take interest in, that they have anxiety or rage, or that they're beginning to act reckless, or they are looking for ways to kill themselves, or they're sleeping too much or too little, or even giving away prized possessions. These are all different warning signs that I want you to look for. And you can be that difference in a person's life. Now, some of you all may have not gone through a suicide prevention or intervention training, and you're saying, I can't do this, Jermaine. I'm glad to tell you that you're not alone in this. There is 3 numbers that if you remember, you can find somebody on that line that will help you 24 hours, 7 days a week. And those 3 numbers are 988. That is a suicide and crisis lifeline. And we have persons here in Missouri that is pushing those phones in the Kansas City area, in the St. Louis area, Springfield area, that is pushing this phone that can connect you with a local resource that can support you or someone else. So I would encourage you all to dial 988 and say, hey, I went to a training. They said this number was a number I could call. I just wanted to see what happened when I called this number. A lot of folks, they're like, I don't want to call that number. I'm scared what may happen. No, you can call, you can text, you can chat 988, reach out to that number if you or someone else you know may be experiencing suicidal thoughts. Amber put in the chat feed, is anyone in the Poplar Bluff, Missouri area? We have a behavioral health crisis center here to support. Thank you, Amber, for sharing that information. This is the beautiful thing about these learning communities is we get to hear from one another and share. So once again, if you or someone else is feeling suicidal, please dial those 3 numbers there. All right. So I want to now move from this educational piece of kind of like why we have holiday blues to some coping strategies. And I want us to act. And I love this acronym for ACT. Action changes things. All right. Action changes things. So let's talk about that. Let's act on some stuff. So I want us to be more proactive versus being reactive. Notice this reactive language. There's nothing I can do. That's just the way I am. That makes me so mad. I have to do that. I can't. I must. That is language oftentimes that I hear people use when they talk about how they are feeling. And when it comes down to depression or anxiety, well, you know, our family, that's just how we are. And the reality is that actually could be true. It could be your family history. And as a result of your family history, you could be genetically predisposed. You could be environmentally predisposed to certain things that could put you at risk of developing depression, anxiety, other mental health challenges. So I want us to move from reactive language to proactive language. So instead of there's nothing I can do, let's look at our alternatives. Instead of that's just the way I am, let's look at I can choose a different approach. Instead of that makes me so mad, let's say I have control over my own feelings. Instead of saying I have to do that, you can say I will choose an appropriate response. And instead of I can't, you can say I choose. Instead of I must, I prefer. If anybody is interested in listening to this webinar after the fact, we will have this webinar actually on our website where you can come back and you can capture some of these things, because I think I'm talking really quickly. Can y'all understand the words that are coming out of my mouth though? Can y'all understand the words coming out of my mouth? Give me a thumbs up. Can you understand the words? Okay, cool beans. All right, so I want us to change our language from reactive language to proactive language. And what would be another way for us to cope is to know what we do for self-care. I want y'all to look at the bingo card and somebody out loud tell me what y'all do for self-care. Just look at the bingo card. I wonder if y'all can get a bingo in self-care. I need to pepper myself more. That's not my bingo. Let's see. Let me find my bingo. Oh my goodness. Anybody see anything that you're doing on this bingo card? Working out. Okay, I see working out. Okay, read for fun. Okay, thank you. Okay, good, good, good. Okay.
I like trying new things.
Okay. All right, good. Anybody else? We got two lists.
Eating something delicious.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So here's what I want y'all to do. I want to encourage y'all to go to myfreebingocards.com, create a bingo card for self-care, and send it around to your family and friends and be like, what are you doing this holiday season for self-care? See if you can get a bingo. And maybe you can have like some prizes or something, you know, and if they get bingo, they get a prize. It could be maybe a $5 somewhere. But I think this would be a great way to introduce self-care as a concept that's not all in your face. Like, what are you doing for self-care? A self-care bingo game could be amazing to send around to friends and be like, hey, let's do this competition. Let's see who can get the bingo. And you can add whatever you want to add to this card. And I think that right there would be so cool. Venture someone this morning, absolutely. I am so grateful to have a few just really good friends that I can talk to and be transparent and not have to be everything to them, but just really be true and transparent and be like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. So I want to encourage y'all to use that resource, myfreebingocards.com, and create a self-care bingo game. And I'll be so curious to see how that goes with you all, because I think it'd be a great holiday thing to do. So let's go a little bit further. And did you know that wellness is an active process? It's active. It's an active process of becoming aware of and making choices to a healthy and fulfilling life. And it is more than being free from illness. It is an actual dynamic process of change and growth. And so my wellness is something that I'm really working hard on because I understand my family history as it relates to physical, mental, and addiction challenges. I understand my family history, and I know I have to work toward that in order to make sure that those things that I know exist don't develop. And so I'm making active changes in order to make sure that I'm trying to live that healthy, fulfilling life. And so it's important that we understand that wellness is a process. And so we need to put on our calendar wellness days and be intentional. So this season, between now and the end of the year, I encourage you all to book a wellness day every week on your calendar. From now to December 31st, book a wellness day and make it like your haircut appointment. Make it like your hair care appointment. Y'all know how we are. I'm not going to miss that appointment for nothing. I need to get in there. You know, I enjoy pedicures and manicures. I enjoy massages. Get those things booked in before the end of the year. And so if you do that, then what you're doing is you're making a choice to be healthy. You're making a choice to live a fulfilling life. And just know that you could still have an illness and still be well. It is your treatment approach to how you manage that illness. So you can still have an illness and still maintain wellness. So what I want to encourage y'all to do is this. I want you all to take on some of these self-care questions. And here's the first question. What can you do when you're upset that will be good for you? So make a list of what you can do when you are upset that would be good for you. Answer the question, what will help me relax? Answer the question, what do I like to do when I'm in a good mood? Number 4, I think it's so important. Make a list of people you can contact if you need support or distraction. And number 5, what things can you say to yourself when you're giving yourself a hard time? Now, I know for me, my distraction, my greatest distraction is my granddaughter. She's 2 years old. She makes me laugh. When I look at her pictures, they bring me joy. And so for her, if I just call her up, it changes my day. I love just looking at and she's just talking to me. I had no clue what she's saying. I just think they're all great things, whatever she's saying. So I just love talking to my 2-year-old granddaughter. And the greatest thing is when she calls me on my phone, and I'm like, who is this? And she pops up there, and I'm like, oh my goodness. It's just like good medicine, y'all. It's good medicine. So think about those things that bring you joy, those things. And These 5 questions I want you to take into account. Let's look at some other things here. So who can you call when you need support? So I want you all to have that list of people who you can call. And I'm going to share this PowerPoint with you. If you all have registered, we'll share the PowerPoint with you. And Danielle will email that PowerPoint to you all along with the evaluation link. So I want you to divide your list of people in categories by asking the following questions. Who can I call if I'm feeling depressed or anxious? Who can I call if I'm lonely? Who will come over to be with me if I need company? Who will listen to me? Who will encourage me to get out of the house and do something fun? And who will remind me to follow my self-care plan? I do have friends who ask me one question. Did you eat today? They literally asked me that question. Did you eat today? Because the answer probably is no, I didn't eat. So they're like, you need to eat. I have people who actually tell me I need to eat. And so I just work. It's important to have somebody that tells you, hey, did you eat today? How much rest did you get today? You know, and those questions are questions that are helpful. So who can you call when you need that support? Who will help you be accountable and you can turn to? And so I think it's really important to have that list of who you can call. Now, what we're trying to build, everybody, is resiliency, because resiliency is a process. It's an outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially when we're experiencing things in a few categories: mental, emotional, behavior. In those 3 categories, oftentimes, that's where we need to ensure that we have things in place to make sure we have that bounce back. And so what it does is resilience helps us be flexible, helps us to adjust to both those external and those internal demands. I had this little ball that I used to throw against the wall, and when I threw it against the wall, it stuck to the wall, and it came back to its form. And I kept throwing it at the wall, and it came back to its form. And one day I threw it against the wall, it just slid on the wall. It didn't come back in its form. And I think sometimes that could be us. We got so many demands, internal demands, external demands, and we just bounce back. We just bounce back. And then there's that one time where you don't bounce back. And so we want to make sure that we are resilient. And how do we do that? We do that by knowing what resources we have available to us. We do that by also having a plan and having procedures, being connected to community. And we also do that by making sure we are aware of our risk and what makes us vulnerable. And so we want to make sure that we are maintaining resiliency during this holiday season. So let's go a little bit further. Everybody, if you would like to, if you take your cell phone and put the camera on there, you would actually be able to download this document. This is a QR code, and you can download it. We'll also share it with you all and our email. But let me share with you what this document has. This document has 8 dimensions of wellness, and it poses 2 questions to you. The question is what I will do, and then what I need to do that thing. So I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint real quickly, and I'm going to bring up this doc. I love this document. It's created by SAMHSA, and the document is titled Creating a Healthier Life, a Step-by-Step Guide to Wellness. I love this model because what you'll see here is there are 8 dimensions of wellness: social, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, occupational, financial, environmental, and physical. And it's during the holiday season that oftentimes our wellness is impacted with regards to emotional, social, even financial, spiritual. We're extending ourselves beyond sometimes our ability in order to make lists, buy things on lists, so forth. And so it's really important that we look at our wellness, not just from one of these dimensions, but multiple dimensions. So we may be well in 3 or 4 of these, but be unwell in another. Believe me, if you are unwell in one dimension, it will influence the other dimensions. What I love about this document is what it does is as you look at each dimension of wellness, I'm just kind of scrolling through here to get us to just one dimension here. So notice here, physical wellness. So what we want to all have, of course, is that healthy body. So good physical health habits, nutrition, exercise, appropriate health, all these different things are things that we really want to make sure that we are attending to with regards to our physical wellness. What's great here is there are the different areas where you can look at. So like nutrition, physical activity, sleep, and then we have all these links over here that you can then turn to in order to look at how you can improve those areas. I know that 7 to 8 hours of sleep is a great goal, but I don't think I get that in every night. If I could just make that happen, I'll probably be much more well in that area right there. So notice here you have the area, think about, and then resources. So this right here is a great document for you to look at. And then what you want to do is, once you look at those areas, is write down what I will do for physical wellness are these things. What I need to do those things is this right here. So this is an amazing guide that I want you all to consider using, not only during this season, but think about this as you make goals for the new year. Think about in the new year, what am I going to do to improve these 8 dimensions of wellness in my life? And so once again, that QR code there is one way to get this document. We also will email this to those of you who are in attendance. We'll email this to you. But I love this. This right here is for physical wellness. One of the things I think that we oftentimes don't look at is this here, and that is our occupational wellness. We spend a lot of time working. And so think about your work relationships. Think about the balance that you have between that. And then also, do you feel accomplished in those areas? Is what you're doing making you feel accomplished? And so thinking about that can be really important. Notice here, occupational wellness dimension involves participating in activities that provide meaning and purpose and reflect personal values, interests, and beliefs, including employment. So what are those things that allow you to feel as if you're walking in your purpose? That's going to be really important that you think about that wellness there. All right, I'm going to stop sharing that PowerPoint. I hope you all see that as a great resource that you all can turn to, because I really love working through that document there. And so this can help you create your own self-care action plan. So there's 3 things to keep in mind. Keep expectations for the holiday season manageable. I know I'm an over planner sometimes. I just over plan, I overthink, I overdo. So if that's you, recognize that. All right. Do your best to try to have the best ever holiday that you want to have, but manage that. Manage that. So the best ever holiday could be the fact that you actually went to the beach and you did cook a 6-course meal. It could be the best ever holiday for you. So make sure that you manage your expectations for the holiday. Number 2, remember that the holiday season does not automatically banish reasons for feeling sad or lonely. A lot of folks always say things like, what's the holiday? You ought to be happy. You ought to be this. And no, just because it's the holidays does not mean it banishes those feelings. So there's room for these feelings to be present, even if the person chooses not to express them. And the third thing to keep in mind is let go of the past. Don't be disappointed if your holidays are not like they used to be. Life brings changes. I mean, like I said earlier, it could be that somebody that you love so dearly is no longer with you this holiday season. It could be that that relationship that you were in is no longer there. It could be that, once again, you're dealing with something that just wasn't the same. And so, to the best of your ability, let go of that past and make a new moment for yourself. So these 3 things I want you to keep in mind during this time. I want you to know that you're not alone and that SAMHSA has a national helpline. It is answered 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and you can call this number, and it is in both English and Spanish. Referrals are there. So this is for individuals and family members facing mental or substance use disorders or challenges. And so you can call this number and they can connect you to someone in your local area that can support you. So this is not just if you're in crisis. This is if you just need support and say, hey, I just need to talk to somebody. This is a great helpline that you can reach out to, and it is free and it is confidential. So I would encourage you to reach out to SAMHSA's National Helpline. Well, that concludes my presentation, and we have about 20 minutes set aside for Q&A. And so is there anybody who have any questions or want to share what was an aha moment or something that you want to share? If you have a tip of how you deal with the holiday blues, feel free to unmute, feel free to chat.
I'll just say that I really like the bingo idea. See if I can incorporate that. Well, because you're looking for fun things to do for the holidays and a way to make it something really kind of meaningful and productive, but still a way to connect with friends or family. That's pretty cool.
Thanks, Isaac. I know at my table I'm playing spades and dominoes. I'm playing those things, but I pull out the self-care bingo card. Hey, another way. Yeah. Anybody else want to share a takeaway that you got from our conversation today? I hope you found these resources helpful. And we just thought before we got into the holiday, our big holidays coming up next week, and we have several holidays coming up, in December. We just thought, Alive and Well, it would be good to have a conversation about the holiday blues and give some tips of how we can be supportive of ourselves and others.
Jermaine, I was going to share something I'm doing this holiday season. Is I have a lot of friends who lost some close family members. So I'm reaching out to them and getting like their address and just sending them an Amazon, either gift card, just so they can purchase something for their self-care. Because sometimes we think, oh, if I send them, maybe some mask or something, that's probably what they don't want to do for their self-care. So just sending like maybe $15, $20 Amazon cards just to say, hey, I'm thinking about you during this holiday time. I know it's probably hard. And here's, something to just help you, whatever that might be. So
that is a great and very kind idea, Danielle. You can send me a card to Ross. I'm just playing. I love Ross. Listen, I find all kinds of.
I got you on my list. I'm adding now.
Yeah, absolutely. In our chat feed, Kaylin says, I think laughter is self-care, allowing ourselves to laugh with one another is great. Absolutely. I love to laugh. I so love to laugh because, it does good. It does good for us. It gets those endorphins going, it's good stuff. I use a happy light box for seasonal affective disorder. Last year, towards the end of the winter, it was no longer working. I ended up getting a vitamin B, vitamin D shot for a boost, and it really helped get past the hurdle. So make sure to take your vitamins. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. Seasonal depression or seasonal affective disorder is real. And it's one of those things where we want to make sure people are not telling others, or you'll get past it, or, don't worry about it. It's just a phase. For some people, it's not just a phase. It is a real thing. And I think we have to acknowledge that. What else do you all want to share with your colleagues that can be a great tip during this holiday season? I know there's a lot of things going on in the world around us that can be really traumatizing. And so a lot of us are experiencing vicarious trauma, secondary trauma, by way of what we are seeing in the news cycles. And so I think it's so important that we just are allowing ourselves to be able to step away from the news cycle and just get some time away to just be able to just do what Danielle does in the sense of yoga and meditation and just reflecting.
I switch when the days start getting shorter. I switch up my routine, so I'm taking a short walk in the morning before lunch.
Yeah.
And I think even just that little exposure to sunshine can make a big difference. The other thing is during the holiday seasons, I try to schedule time to connect. We
Yeah,
think about all the things we have to do, and sometimes just meeting up with somebody for coffee or just making sure connection is a part of how we enjoy the holidays.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing, Michelle. So I'm gonna throw this out here. What is the favorite thing you enjoy to eat during this time of year? What is your favorite thing? I love making my homemade yeast dinner rolls. They are just, yeah, they get you in trouble. And I love making pound cake this time of the year. They get you in trouble, but it's good stuff. Anybody want to share via chat or just unmute yourself? Pecan pie, homemade cranberry sauce, homemade. Okay, Amber is bringing it. Homemade cranberry sauce. All right, what else do y'all enjoy this time of the year that just makes you your taste buds just go? Hot chocolate, yes, yes. Sweet potato pie and dressing, mashed potatoes and gravy, yes. Oh no, okay, Amber, I got you. Stuffing, oh my good, I make a very good carrot cake. Yes, I do. One of my aunties who passed away this year used to tell me I should open up a bakery. Yeah.
So Jermaine, you're going to send us food. It sounds like you're gonna make us come to Kansas City.
Listen, I'm kind of close to Kansas City, I tell you, yeah. I love staying in hotels that have like a little kitchen kind of element to it because I can just cook, versus having to go out and buy food. So yeah, absolutely. I'll bring the cranberry sauce and you bring the carrot. Oh, let's okay. We got an event going right now. All right, Danielle, I think we need to have an in-person event somewhere in Kansas City and just bring the food, potluck, do something. Tell you. Well, listen, I am